Hello everyone, and welcome to class number 3, Risk Assessment of our Risk Engineering for Medical Devices course. I'm Quality Engineer for New Product Productions, Andres Relas. Now, for class number 3, we only have two key objectives. The first one is that you learn how to quantify and prioritize risks, and the second one is that you learn how to build a risk matrix. Now, a risk matrix is something like this, where you evaluate based on the severity of a potential harm and how likely that harm is to actually occur. Now, why do we need a matrix? Without a risk matrix, our decisions are considered to be subjective. Each engineer will evaluate based on their experience a little bit differently, and there will be no consistency during audits, whether internal or external. Now, with a matrix, we have objective evaluations, we have clear criteria, and we have defensible decisions of why we made certain decisions. Now, this does not mean that they were the right decisions. Sometimes you're going to make mistakes. That happens to the best of us. But the point here is that during a quality audit, you can actually state why you did something in a certain way. Now, the basic definition of a risk matrix is that it is a tool that will combine severity, which is the impact of a harm, with the probability, which is the frequency of occurrence of said harm, to determine the level of risk overall. Remember that risk is simply severity times occurrence. Now, each company might have different values. You might have a scale, something like this, about how serious is the overall damage. That is what we call severity. You might say, well, number 1 is there's no impact. Number 2 is that it's a mild impact. Number 3 is moderate impact. Number 4 is very serious impact. And number 5, somebody died. So in medical industry, severity was usually considered high because our products, well, they sustain life in some way or help mitigate an impact. Now, how likely is it to happen? Well, it might be rare, occasional, moderate, frequent, or very frequent. Remember that the matrix that I'm providing right now is just an example. Your company might decide to use a scale of 1 to 6 or 1 to 10, 1 to 20. It's up to you guys. Now, on the x-axis on this example, we're showing probability, and on the y-axis, we're showing severity. The result is simply evaluating whether the overall risk is considered to be low, medium, or high. Here, I just want to clarify that this is done for each individual risk identified. It's not that overall we state, oh, the product is low risk, medium risk, or high risk. No, you're confusing class 1, class 2, and class 3 medical devices. When we are evaluating risks, we have electrical risks, physical risk, software risk, usage risk, and other additional categories. We are simply saying whether we have low risks, medium risk, or high risk on any of those particular categories. Now, here is a typical example. Your company might state that low risks are considered to be acceptable, medium risks need to be evaluated, and high risks are considered not acceptable. Now, remember, each company must have their own internal standard for properly evaluating whether a risk is acceptable or not. So each cell on this risk matrix is defining an action. But again, a risk matrix is just an oversimplification. You might have situations where you have a product that even has a low risk, and the company decides that based on corporate policy, we consider this to still be too high and want to do a product redesign or change some type of risk control. Now, this is where the real decisions are being made from a quality, manufacturing, and design standpoint. All these tools, and I just want to clarify, all these tools are done before we even release the product, okay? So we're talking about product design, during new product development. Now, we will evaluate whether a risk control measure is necessary. Usually when we have a red value or a yellow value, a risk control measure will be necessary. From there, we'll design the actual risk control measure and we'll evaluate residual risk. I will talk about the residual risk later in another module. But as you can see here, from here we are going to ask ourselves, was the risk low enough after the new controls? If no, then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to implement a new risk measure, design it, release it, and review if the new risk is considered to be acceptable. Now, I personally keep mentioning new risk, right? So we'll talk about that later. Here's an actual example. Let's say we have an infusion pump overdose. Now, how critical is an overdose? Well, it's at level 5. It's the highest value on this risk matrix, so it's critical. The probability is a number 3, which is considered to be a moderate risk. So it is possible to have an infusion pump overdose. Now, severity is going to place me on this axis right here, which is my top position. Let's just move to a blue color here. There we go. Now, probability is going to be moderate, so it's going to place me here. Wherever the third position intersects with the fifth position, that is the risk evaluation on the matrix, which would be this cell right here. Since it's red in color, the risk is considered to be high. So most likely we're going to need some type of risk control. Now, the most common mistake when using a risk matrix is that we underestimate the severity, we overestimate how good our control is going to be, we fail to follow our actual documented criteria. This one is very common. You might have a severity matrix that says, if somebody can get hurt, it needs to be a severity 5. And then a new engineer comes in and says, well, in my old company, if somebody could get hurt, it was a severity 3, and only if they died, it could be a severity 5, right? But your company might have different controls. So this is critical during process audits. We need to follow our documented procedure to properly evaluate risk. Now, in closing, our risk matrix is going to allow us to properly prioritize problems, make objective decisions, and comply with all necessary regulations. If you're going to be a quality engineer, manufacturing engineer, or design engineer in medical device manufacturing, you need to understand how the risk matrix works and how it pushes us to implement risk controls. I haven't talked about risk controls yet, engineers. Please, let's take it one step at a time. And with that, we conclude module number 3 related to risk assessment. I'm quality engineer for New Product Productions, Andres Relas, and I hope to see you on class number 4. Thank you very much, team, and have a wonderful day.